Evening, everybody. It's Kevin here from Watch This with Joe and Kevin. It is currently 3:14 in the morning, and I thought this would be a good time to go ahead and check out a movie that came highly recommended after All About Eve, Sunset Boulevard, also from 1950. Again, a movie I don't know a whole lot about. Obviously has something to do with a road in California, but nominated for 11 Oscars, won 3, including nominated for at least 4, I believe, acting Oscars. It just couldn't really break through. Obviously, a very stacked year, 1950, in terms of the Academy Awards and the quality of films. Kind of like how, Pulp Fiction couldn't really break through in 1994 because it was the year of Gump. Definitely know 2 actors in this movie. William Holden, who we have seen on the channel before in Network, and Gloria Swanson, and I have never seen a Gloria Swanson film, so pretty excited to check that out for the first time. So this will be a lot of fun. There were people on both Patreon and YouTube who said that if you really enjoy All About Eve, this is a really good companion piece to it. I'm not sure if they are thematically or stylistically the same, or it's just a simple fact that they came out in such close proximity to each other. But a lot of people really love both of those films, so I'm really excited to add this one to the list of older cinema that I've experienced. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into it here. Do want to thank all of our Patreon subscribers who are here with us, and give a special shout out to Actuarial Lurker, Balash Fuldez, Chris, Derek Peterson, Jeff, Christy Goverston, NJ, Surigunda Varapu, Togir Linkstad, Weird Magic, Where Panda 47, and Jamie Morgan. Thank you so much, guys. Really glad you're here with us. If you would like to see a full-length reaction to this and everything else that we have watched and we are currently watching, please check out the link in the description below to our Patreon page. On everything on Patreon, due to copyright law, you are going to have to sync and watch along on your own source material. You'll only see and hear us. Oh, the dramatic music entrance. Eric von... I can't see the name. Stroheim. I am not familiar. Okay, Cecil B. DeMille. Buster Keaton? Buster Keaton's in this movie? Okay, 1, I did not realize Buster Keaton was still acting in 1950. And 2, I did not realize Cecil B. DeMille made appearances in films.
Yes, this is Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. That's the Homicide Squad, complete with detectives and newspapermen.
And here I thought tracking shots were a kind of a new invention. Just kidding.
Maybe you'd like to hear the facts, the whole truth. You see, the body of a young man was found floating in the pool of her mansion.
Oh, man.
He always wanted a pool.
That's a great shot.
Well, in the end, he got himself a pool. I hadn't worked in a studio for a long time. So I sat there grinding out original stories. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty prolific writing pace. I'll give the guy credit for that.
We come for the car. Because the company's played ball with you long enough. Because you're 3 payments behind. And because...
Relax, fans, the car isn't here. He loaned it to a friend of mine. He took it down to Palm Springs.
Now, Repo Men is a long and storied tradition.
That car better be back here by noon tomorrow. There's going to be fireworks.
Well, I needed about $290. And I needed it real quick or I'd lose my car. It wasn't in Palm Springs.
That's a good reveal, actually, wasn't it?
I had an original story kicking around Paramount. My agent told me it was dead as a doornail.
This is the time when you could actually use a real company in a movie and no one would get offended or bothered. Or worry about their branding.
You got a title?
Bases loaded. There's a 40-page outline.
Call Reader's Department. Find out what they have on Bases Loaded.
You got the best man for it right here on this lot, Alan Ladd. Be a good change of pace for Ladd. And there's another thing. It's pretty simple to shoot.
Hello, Mr. Sheldrake.
Hello.
On that basis loaded, I covered it with a 2-page synopsis.
Thank you.
But I wouldn't bother. A rehash of something that wasn't very good to begin with.
Oh, my
You'll be
God.
glad to meet Mr. Gillis. He wrote it. This is Miss Kramer.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gillis, but
Oh,
I
my
didn't
God.
think it was any good.
You'd have turned down Gone with the Wind.
No, that was me. I said, who wants to see a Civil War picture?
This is fun. This is fun.
If we made it a girls' softball team, put in a few numbers, might make a cute musical.
That movie ends up getting made.
I'm over a barrel. I need a job.
I haven't got a thing.
Could you let me have $300 yourself as a personal loan?
Was William Holden the guy in the pool? Is he like narrating his own death? He looked like him. It may not have been him.
So then I called a pal of mine, Artie Green. He could let me have 20, but 20 wouldn't do.
Of course I could give you $300. Only I'm not going to. Don't you know the finest things in the world have been written on an empty stomach? Now you'll have to sit behind the typewriter. Now you'll have to write.
What do you think I've been doing?
Yeah, he's been grinding.
Sweetheart, maybe what you'll need is another agent.
As I drove back towards town, I took inventory of my prospects. Maybe if I hawked all my junk, there'd be enough for a bus ticket back to Ohio. Back to the smirking delight of the whole office. Maybe you think that you could make... Uh-oh.
Oh, the repo guys? Wow, they take their job seriously. Oh. That was well done stunt there.
I had landed myself in the driveway of some big mansion that looked run down and deserted. If ever there was a place to stash away a limping car with a hot license number.
If the blown tire running from the repo men is how he, like, the dramatic action gets kicked off this movie, that's really pretty smart work.
Foreign-built automobile. It must have burned up 10 gallons to a mile. It was a great big white elephant of a place. The kind crazy movie people built in the crazy 20s. It was like that old woman in Great Expectations. Mm-hmm. That Miss Havisham in her rotting wedding dress.
Seems like a mansion in the hills being completely abandoned like this seems unlikely. Yeah, he should not have assumed that was empty.
Why have you kept me waiting so long?
I just put my car in the garage. I had a blowout. I thought maybe this...
Go on in.
Suppose you listen to me for just a minute.
Madame is waiting.
For me?
Okay, it's a bold move. But I guess he's kind of at her mercy.
If you need any help with the coffin, call me.
This is a curious and bold move.
I put him on my massage table in front of the fire. He always liked fires, and I want the coffin to be white, and I want it specially lined with satin. How much will it be? I warn you, don't give me a fancy price just because I'm rich.
Lady, you got the wrong man.
Okay, good. I was wondering if he's just going to go along with this.
I thought this was an empty house.
It is not. Get out.
You're Norma Desmond. Used to be in silent pictures. Used to be big.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
That's a great line.
There was a time in this business when they had the eyes of the whole wide world. So they opened their big mouths, and out came talk. Talk, talk. They took the idols and smashed them. The Fairbankses, the Gilberts, the Valentinos.
I'm not an executive, just a writer.
You are. Writing words, more words. Well, you've made a rope of words and strangled this business. Get out! Max!
Well, he's unnecessarily rude. I mean, she's a lot, but...
You're a writer, you said.
Last one I wrote was about Okies in the Dust Bowl. You'd never know, because when it reached the screen, the whole thing played on a torpedo boat.
This is a really cynical look at Hollywood and the apropos destruction of the cinema, which we hear about now. It's almost like Martin Scorsese could have written this.
The wind gets in that blasted pipe organ. I ought to have it taken out.
I'd teach it a better tune.
Oh, that's a really cool detail.
This is to be a very important picture. I've written it myself. Took me years. It's a story of Salome. I think I'll have DeMille direct it.
I didn't know you were planning a comeback.
I hate that word. It's return. A return to the millions of people who've never forgiven me for deserting the screen. Read it. Read the scene just before she has him killed.
Well, I had no pressing engagement.
Yeah, I was going to say, what else do you have to do besides hiding?
Sometimes it's interesting to see just how bad writing can be. She sat coiled up like a watch spring.
What a great
her
look.
Cigarette clamped in a curious holder. That bundle of raw nerves and Max and a dead monkey upstairs.
Yeah, the dead monkey is also quite a touch.
The real guy arrived with...
Yeah, I was going to say, when is the guy that actually came to get the monkey?
It was all done with great dignity. That silly hodgepodge of melodramatic plots. I'd started concocting a little plot of my own. This is fascinating.
Of course it is.
Is he going to play her here?
What it needs is maybe a little more dialogue.
I will not have it butchered.
Just an editing job. You can find somebody.
I want you to do this work.
You know, I'm pretty expensive. I get $500 a week.
I wouldn't worry about money. I'll make it worth your while. You'll have to finish it here. Where do you live?
Hollywood. Aldo Nido Apartments.
Why shouldn't you stay here?
Look, I'll come back early tomorrow.
Nonsense.
I mean, it works out great for him. He's in hiding. Of course, he's just playing her here.
I dropped the hook, and she snapped at it.
So Joe's not that great a dude.
There should be plenty of money in it.
I made you a bed this afternoon.
How did you know I was going to stay this afternoon?
The bathroom is over there. I put in some towels, soap, and a toothbrush.
She's quite a character, that Norma Desmond.
In 1 week, she received 17,000 fan letters. There was a Maharaja who came all the way from India to beg one of her silk stockings.
Wow.
Strangled himself with it.
So almost strangled himself with one of her stockings. I didn't realize that was a thing back in the 50s. Actually, it'd been earlier than that.
The whole place seemed to have been stricken with a kind of creeping paralysis.
You know, even if they didn't start with showing the dead body at the beginning of the movie, the ominous tone of this, like the black cloud hanging over it, the sense of impending doom would definitely be there.
The last rites for that hairy old chimp, as if she were laying to rest an only child. It was all very queer. But queerer things were yet to come. Where was I? Oh, yes.
That sense of disorientation waking up in a strange place is very unsettling.
Somebody had brought in all my belongings, my books, my typewriter, my clothes. What was going on?
Yeah, that would have freaked me out. God, another great shot. Look at that.
My clothes and things are up in the room.
Who said you could? Who asked you to?
I did. I don't know why you should be so upset.
Oh my God, all the pictures of her around herself.
You can't work in an apartment where you owe 3 months' rent.
I'll take care of that.
It's all taken care of. It's all paid for. Now, don't let's be small about such matters. We won't keep books.
So she is loaded.
Do you want this job or don't you?
Yes, I wanted the job. I wanted the dough, and I wanted to get out of there as quickly as I could.
She's just not an easy woman to rob.
Afraid I'd do injury to that precious brainchild of hers.
Yeah, maybe don't throw the pages away in front of her.
What's that?
Just a scene I threw out. It's better to cut directly to John the Baptist.
Cut away from me.
Well, honestly, it's a little too much of you.
Why do they beg me for my photographs? Why? Because they want to see me, Norma Desmond.
I didn't argue with her. You don't yell at a sleepwalker. He may fall and break his neck.
That's a good line.
She was still sleepwalking along the giddy heights of a lost career. Plain crazy when it came to that one subject, her celluloid self.
Yeah, all the photographs of herself around her are just such a great detail.
And still more Norma Desmond. And we'd see a movie right in her living room.
One of hers, or?
Sometimes as we watched, she'd clutch my arm or my hand, forgetting she was my employer. I guess I don't have to tell you who the star was.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if that was going to be her.
Pictures.
I don't know her background, so I'm assuming that they used old actual footage of Gloria Swanson in silent films in her youth.
We didn't need dialogue. We had faces. There just aren't any faces.
It's a great
like that
delivery.
anymore. Haven't they got any eyes? Have they forgotten what a star looks like? I'll show them. I'll be up there again, so help me.
This is shot really well, the way she stepped into the film light there.
The others around the table would be actor friends. Dim figures you may still remember from the silent days.
Pass.
Oh, that.
3-note trump. Pass.
Pass.
They found him?
They found your car in the garage and they're going to tow it away.
I want to talk to you for a minute.
Not now, my dear. I'm playing 3-note trump.
Look, I need some money right now.
Can't you wait until I'm done, eh?
No.
Don't argue in front of the stars.
I've lost my car.
Oh, and I thought it was a matter of life and death.
It is to me.
We don't need 2 cars. We have a car. Not one of those cheap new things made of chromium and spit. All handmade. Cost me $28,000.
Oh my God. That's an expensive car.
That's a dreadful shirt you're wearing.
What's wrong with it?
Nothing if you work in the filling station. What's a good men's shop in town? The very best. Well, go there. And must you chew gum?
This guy's a borderline hostage.
Now we need a top coat. Let me see what you have in camel's hair. Where are your evening clothes?
In this way, madam.
I acted the same way when I was a kid and my mom took me shopping.
Well, as long as the lady's paying for it, why not take the Vicuna?
I mean, that's the whole point, right? You were there to take advantage of her?
The last week in December, the rains came. She had Max move me to the main house. I didn't much like the idea.
Kind of curious to the extent to which we use sets here, or they just used a mansion. It certainly looks pretty derelict. I wouldn't think it would be like all somebody's actual home.
Hey, what's this with the door? There isn't any lock.
There are no locks anywhere in this house, sir. The doctor suggested it.
What doctor?
Madame's doctor.
Is she gonna locking herself in rooms?
We have to be very careful. No sleeping pills, no razor blades. We shut off the gas in Madame's bedroom.
She's not forgotten. She still gets those fan letters.
I wouldn't look too closely at the postmarks.
Oh.
You send them. Is that it, Max?
I better press your evening clothes, sir.
That's really just kind of sad and tragic.
Still waving proudly to a parade which had long since passed her by. It was at her New Year's party that I found out how she felt about me. That sad, embarrassing revelation.
I love that line.
It's all padding. Don't let it fool you.
Yeah. Cute. Come on, let's have a drink.
Shouldn't we wait for the others?
Max, champagne.
Is nobody coming?
Here's to us. Valentino said there's nothing like tile for a tango. Don't bend back like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he looks like he's trying to avoid her.
It tickles.
It does.
What time are they supposed to get here?
Who?
The other guests.
There are no other guests.
Yeah. God, this is such a beautifully shot movie.
I felt caught like the cigarette in that contraption on her finger.
Yeah, you are. How old is she? She doesn't look that old, really.
When our picture's finished, I'll buy you a boat and we'll sail to Hawaii.
Stop it. You're not going to buy me anything more. Norma, I can't take it. You bought me enough.
Shut up. I'm rich. I'm richer than all this new Hollywood trash.
Has it ever occurred to you that I may have a life of my own? That there may be some girl that I'm crazy about?
Who?
Well, you said the wrong thing there.
What you're trying to say is you don't want me to love you. Say it.
Should have known it was going that direction.
I didn't know where I was going. I just had to get out of there. I had to hear somebody laugh again.
I mean, I get the impulse. He is a young guy, and he's fairly trapped there.
A bunch of kids who didn't give a hoot, just so long as they had a yuck to share.
Well, what do you know? Joe Gillis. Hi, Artie. Where you been keeping that gorgeous face of yours?
In a deep freeze.
Who did you borrow that from? Adolph Monju?
Close, but no cigar.
Budget only calls for 3 drinks per extra. Fake the rest.
I mean, can you put me up for a couple of weeks?
It just so happens
this
we have
is
a
really
vacancy on the
clever.
couch.
I'll take it.
Hello, Mr. Gillis.
Hello.
You know each other?
Let me help you. Betty Schaefer, Sheldrake's office.
Don't worry, she's just a fan for my literary output.
Hurt Feelings Department.
This is not going to fly at all.
I've been hoping to run into you. No, I felt a little guilty, so I got out some of your old story.
Dark Windows, how'd you like it?
Oh, I didn't.
Thank you.
Except for about 6 pages.
I said you could have my couch. I didn't say you could have my girl.
Oh, this is shop talk. Here's something really worthwhile.
Want me to start right away? Maybe there's some paper around.
I'm serious. I've got a few ideas.
And I got a few ideas of my own.
Are you hungry?
Hungry. After 12 years in the Burmese jungle, I'm starving, Lady Agatha.
Oh my God.
Philip, you're mine.
Thirsting for the coolness of your lips.
Aggressive.
Suddenly, I find myself terribly afraid of losing you. Hello, Max. This is Mr. Gillis. I want you to do me a favor. And my typewriter. I'll have somebody pick him up.
The doctor is here.
What doctor?
Madame got the razor from your room and she...
Oh my God.
What?
I'm glad he actually cares. That surprised me that he actually feels bad. I honestly thought he would be completely indifferent to this. God, that's brutal. Really good use of the camera again. Just the wrists in the foreground, you can't see her face.
Go away.
What kind of a silly thing was that to do?
To fall in love with you, that was the idiotic thing. Go to that girl of yours.
Look, I was making that up. You're the only person in this stinking town that has been good to me.
I'll do it again.
Oh my God. I mean, I don't know what the rules were in the 1950s, but obviously this is somebody in desperate need of inpatient care. We are way beyond Howard Hughes at this point.
Happy New Year, Norma.
Happy New Year, darling.
Man, that is not the answer, though, to give in to that.
I'm sorry to bother you again, but I've confirmed the number. I must speak to Mr. Gillis.
Nobody here can give you any information. And you will please not call again?
You're to take the script over to Paramount and deliver it to Mr. DeMille in person.
No, she did. She filled the pool for him, which makes sense going back to the beginning of the movie.
I'm not just selling the script, I'm selling me. DeMille always said
That's
I was
actually
his
true.
greatest star. All right, it was quite a few years ago. But the point is, I never looked better in my life. Because I've never been as happy in my life.
God. This train is going off a cliff.
That idiot, he forgot to fill my cigarette case.
Pull up to the drugstore, will you, Max?
I'll get you some.
You're a darling.
Give me a package of those turkey cigarettes.
Stick 'em up or I'll let you have it.
Oh my God.
Hi, Artie.
Where have you been keeping yourself? I've got the most wonderful news for you. Sheldrake likes the angle about the teacher.
What teacher?
Dark windows. I got him all hopped up about it. He thinks it could be made into something. I've got 20 pages of notes, and I've got a pretty good character for the man. Now, if we could sit down for 2 weeks to get a story.
I'm sorry, Miss Schaefer. I've given up writing on spec. Thanks anyway for your interest in my career.
It's not your career, it's mine.
Yeah, she's doing a lot of the legwork. Yeah.
I want to write.
I'm sorry if I crossed you up.
You sure have.
She would put on a live show for me. The Norma Desmond Follies.
I can still see myself in the line. Reprevost, Mabel Norman.
This is not a happy kept man.
Why are you so glum?
Nothing's the matter. I'm having a great time. I was thinking about that girl of Artie's. That Miss Schaefer. Audiences don't know somebody sits down and writes a picture. They think the actors make it up as they go along.
That's certainly not the case anymore. Screenwriters have become stars. Oh my God, this would have been such a fun scene to do. Gloria Swanson doing her Charlie Chaplin.
You know better than to interrupt me.
Paramount is calling.
Now do you believe me? I told you DeMille would jump at it.
It is not Mr. DeMille in person.
The very idea of having some assistant call me. Say I'm busy and hang up.
Yeah, we can see where this is going.
He's trying to belittle me. He's trying to get my price down.
Oh no.
Now DeMille can wait until I'm good and ready.
About 3 days later, she was good and ready. And set forth to see DeMille in person.
So DeMille is playing DeMille.
You see, Mr. DeMille, open the gate.
Mr. DeMille is shooting. You got an appointment?
I'm bringing Norma Desmond.
Jonesy. Hey, Jonesy.
Yeah? Sure, Miss Desmond. Come on, Mac.
They can't drive on the lot without a pass.
Miss Desmond can. Come on.
That's good. There's one of the old timers there.
Norman Desmond's coming in to see Mr. DeMille.
Norma Desmond's coming in to see Mr. DeMille.
Norma Desmond?
God, this is going to be so uncomfortable, isn't it?
Norma Desmond is coming in to see you, Mr. DeMille.
Yeah.
Norma Desmond must be about that awful script of hers.
God.
What can I tell her? 30 million fans have given her the brush. Isn't that enough?
I didn't mean...
Okay, so DeMille's playing a nice version of himself.
I understand she was a terror to work with.
Only toward the end.
Is there something else she can do besides that bad movie?
Hello, Mr. DeMille.
It's good to see you. I must apologize for not calling you.
You'd better. I'm very angry. You read the script, of course?
Yes, I did.
Then you could have picked up the telephone yourself instead of leaving it to one of your assistants, somebody named Gordon Cole.
Gordon Cole?
Does he not know who Gorman Cole is?
Bring me a telephone and get me Gordon Cole.
Okay, so he does know who it is. Oh, that's a really nice touch, the boom mic. She's a silent film star. What a great touch.
It's me! It's Hall Guy! Let's get a good look at you.
There's Norma Desmond.
Norma Desmond.
Okay, I'm really glad people remember her. Oh. Surely they can find a role for her in something. I mean, ego's a part of it, but...
It's that car of hers, an old Isata Frashini. Looks just right for the Crosby picture. We want to rent it for a couple of weeks.
Oh.
Turn that light back where it belongs.
That's a great symbolism, isn't it? Get the spotlight off of her. I've got the bad news.
Crazy things happen in this business, Norma. I hope you haven't lost your sense of humor.
I just didn't realize what it would be like to come back to the old studio.
Oh, God, this is so hard.
We'll be working again, won't we, Chief? We'll make our greatest picture. I just want to work again. You don't know what it means to know that you want me.
If it were possible.
And remember, darling, I don't work before 10 in the morning and never after 4:30 in the
Oh,
afternoon.
my God.
Hold on. Speed. I'll be with you in a minute.
Hey, here's that funny car Gordon Cole was talking about.
Yeah.
Mind if we look it over?
Just so you don't think I'm a complete swine, if there's anything in dark windows you can use, take it. It's all yours.
Well, I'm just not good enough to do it all by myself. To begin with, I think you should throw out all that psychological mess, exploring a killer's sick mind.
Psychopaths are like hotcake.
Yeah, this is kind of funny.
Look, if you don't mind, I haven't time to listen to the whole plot.
I'll make it short.
I'm sorry. It's your baby now.
Couldn't we work in the evenings? Artie's out of town.
What's Artie got to do with it?
We're engaged.
Is this what gets him killed?
It's not Madame they want. It's her car they want to rent.
What?
Goodbye, Norma. We'll see what we can do.
I'm not worried. Everything will be fine. The old team together again.
How'd it go?
It couldn't have gone better. It's practically set.
Get Gordon Cole. Tell him to forget about our car.
An army of beauty experts invaded her house on Sunset Boulevard. Like an athlete training for the Olympic Games, she counted every calorie, ready for those cameras that would never turn.
I have no idea how old she was when she made this.
I just came to say good night.
Good night.
You know, I've lost half a pound since Tuesday.
Good.
You went out last night, didn't you, Joe?
I went for a walk.
No, you didn't. You took the car.
All right, I drove to the beach.
It's just that I don't want to be left alone.
Norma, I haven't done anything.
Of course you haven't. I wouldn't let you.
Okay, so we can see where this is going then. I mean, he should have known where this was going to go before he got himself into this part.
I was playing hooky every evening along in there. That story of mine Betty Schaefer had dug up kept going through my head like a dozen locomotives up in her little cubbyhole of an office. I mean, this is good dialogue along in here. It'll play. Especially with lots of music underneath, drowning it out.
Don't you sometimes hate yourself?
Yeah, all the time. That's his problem.
It's fun writing with you. From a friend of mine, a middle-aged lady. I gave her some advice on an idiotic script.
Oh, the old familiar story.
Sometimes, when we got stuck, we'd make a little tour of the drowsing lot.
Is this what's going to get him caught out walking with this lady, Miss Schaefer?
I like it better than any street in the world. Maybe because I used to play here when I was a kid. I come from a picture family. Naturally, they expected me to become a great star. So then the studio made a test. Well, they didn't like my nose. So I went to a doctor and had it fixed.
Nice job.
It should be. It cost me $300.
night you weep for those lost close-ups, those gala openings.
Not once. What's wrong with being on the other side of the cameras?
She's the opposite of Norma.
How old are you, anyway?
22.
Smart girl. May I suggest that if we're ever to finish this story, you stay at least 2 feet away from me?
I'm really surprised that he's the one who shut that down. Especially after the New Year's Eve party. Just working on a script. Be honest.
You must be very careful as you cross the patio.
I'm writing a script, and I'm going to finish it, no matter what.
It is just that I'm greatly worried about Madame.
And we're not helping her any. Feeding her lies and more lies.
I kind of agree with that.
What happens when she finds out?
She never will. I discovered her when she was 16. I made her a star. I directed all her early films. 3 young directors who showed promise in those days. T.W. Griffith and Max von Meyer. I was her first husband.
Oh. God, to hang around after all that. Either way, Birth of a Nation, had to watch it for a college class. Really, really a racist movie. It's a very pro-Klan propaganda.
Joe, where were you? Is it a woman? I must know.
Is the fact that he's cheating with another script and not with another woman what's really going to push you over the edge?
Betty, wake up. Why are you staring at me like that?
Oh, was I? I'm sorry.
Things going bad with Artie?
What have you heard? Is it about me? Let's face it, whatever it is.
I got a telegram from Artie. He wants me to come on to Arizona. He says
No.
it only costs $2 to get married there.
You're getting married. That's what you wanted.
I don't want it now.
Why not? Don't you love Artie?
Of course I love him.
Like a brother? That was his
I'm not
like a
in
brother
love
thing?
with him anymore,
Yep,
that's
there it
all.
is, yep.
Betty Schaefer's future right in the palm of my hand. She was in love with me. Me.
A lot of ego running through this movie.
Maybe I could get away with it. Get away from Norma. Maybe I could wipe the whole nasty mess right out of my life.
May I speak to Miss Betty Schaefer?
Oh,
Must be
no.
home by now.
Here's that weird-sounding woman again.
It's about Mr. Gillis. You do know Mr. Gillis. Do you know how he lives? Do you know what he lives on?
God.
What do you want? What business is it of yours anyway?
I'm trying to spare you a great deal of misery. But he does not live with relatives, nor with friends in the usual sense of the word. Ask him again.
That's right, Betty. Ask me again. Or better yet, why don't you come out and see for yourself?
Don't hate me, Joe. I did it because I need you. I need you as I've never needed you before. How can I go back to work if I'm wasting away under this torment?
Joe's not a good guy.
I bought myself a revolver, I did. I did. I stood in front of that mirror, but I couldn't make myself do it. Say you don't hate me, Joe.
Betty, let me come along with you, please. No, I'll be all right.
Will you? I guess she will. It's Joe that's not going to be okay.
What are you gonna do, Joe? What are you gonna do?
Oh my God, she's got a... That's not a revolver.
Hello, Betty.
I don't know why I'm so scared, Joe. This is where you live?
You bet. Just look around. There's a lot of her spread about.
Yeah.
If you don't remember the face, you must have heard the name. Norma Desmond. Her own movie theater.
I didn't come here to see a house.
Yeah.
What about Norma Desmond?
It's lonely here. So she got herself a companion. Can you figure it out yourself?
No.
I'm a concubine.
I'll get your things together and let's get out of here.
All my 18 suits, and all my custom-made shoes, and the 6 dozen shirts, and the cufflinks, and the platinum keychains, and the cigarette cases.
If you love me, Joe.
I've got a good deal here.
Oh
A
my God,
long-term
man.
contract with no options. You and Artie can be admirable.
I can't look at you anymore, Joe.
How about looking for the exit?
I mean, I'm glad he was honest with her, but it's a choice.
You can finish that script on the way to Arizona.
He can be completely blunt with her, but not with Norma. There's some master manipulation here.
Thank you, darling. Thank you, Joe.
Oh, I thought that there were several things in this that Tarantino cribbed for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but this shot is definitely one of them.
Tell me everything is just as it was, Joe.
God.
What are you doing, Joe?
Okay, interesting. I didn't see this part coming at all.
You're leaving me.
Yes, I am, Norma.
No, you're not. These are nothing. You can have anything you want. What is it you want?
I don't qualify for the job. Not anymore.
You can't go! Max! Max! And you know I'm not afraid to die.
Here it is again.
You think I made that up about the gun, don't you? All right. You didn't believe me. Now I suppose you don't think I have the courage.
Oh, sure, if it would make a good scene.
You don't care, do you? What about the studio? What about DeMille?
He was trying to spare your feelings. The studio only wanted to rent your car.
Okay, you don't have to hit her with everything at once.
I get letters every day.
Tell her there isn't going to be any picture. There aren't any fan letters except the ones you write.
That isn't true.
Madame is the greatest star of them all.
You heard him.
There's nothing tragic about being 50. Not unless you try to be 25.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Norma.
No one never leaves a star. Joe! Joe!
Yeah.
Joe!
Oh, boy.
This is where you came in.
Yeah.
Back at that pool again. Funny how gentle people get with you once you're dead.
My God.
By this time, the whole joint was jumping. Cops, reporters, neighbors, passers-by. Here was an item everybody could have some fun with.
Aging star murders a guy.
What would they do to Norma? Those headlines would kill her. Yesterday's glamour queen.
As day breaks over the murder house, Norma Desmond, famous star of yesteryear, is in a state of complete mental shock.
If it was a quarrel, how come this gun was right there?
This guy, where did you meet him for the first time?
The newsreel men are here with the cameras.
Tell them to go fly a kite. This is no time for cameras.
Cameras?
Oh, my God.
What is it, Max? Tell Mr. DeMille I'll be on the set at once.
Oh, yeah.
What is this?
Well, it's one way to get her downstairs.
You'll pardon me, gentlemen, but I must get ready for my scene.
Hey.
Lights ready?
All set.
She's so wonderfully big for this performance.
Lights!
What is the scene? Where am I?
This is the staircase of the palace.
Oh, yes.
Of course, in the real world, you just handcuff her and drag her out.
So they were turning after all. Those cameras. Life, which can be strangely
God,
merciful.
this is shot so... Look, everyone's just so still, except for her.
The dream she had clung to so desperately.
Ah, this is glorious.
I can't go on with the scene. I'm too happy. And I promise you I'll never desert you again. Because after Salome, we'll make another picture and another picture. And those wonderful people out there in the dark. All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
I've obviously heard a variation of that line before, but God, what perfect context. God, that was fantastic. I there at the towards the end there, I was thinking about the the meta levels of kind of the bit earlier, right, with Joe and Betty writing the script, and they're debating about whether or not it's okay for a movie to kind of devolve into the psychology of a psychopath, which is a lot of fun because obviously that's what this movie ends up doing. But yeah, this was a really, really good tight script. The narration was really done well. I kind of wish they didn't show Joe dead in the pool to start the movie, because I spent so much time, I don't know if this is everyone's experience, but kind of like, okay, how do we get to this point? I rather would have liked the idea of that kind of being a surprise as to Joe's demise. But then again, it's kind of a cool frame setup, right? That you have the dead guy kind of narrating his own movie, his own demise. But man, what great performances in this. Gloria Swanson was so over the top in this, but it really worked. Excuse me, really worked for the story, for the character. The place where she starts to the place where she has to end up, I think it was completely appropriate. To really have her go for it there. Nice work by Mr. Wilder there in getting her to really, excuse me, heighten that performance. This is the second. My God, sorry guys. January. The second performance I've seen of William Holden, covering a pretty wide time frame, right? I think 25 years before Network. What a talented guy. This is a fantastic movie. Man, putting this in competition with All About Eve. Okay, I was, as I said going in, kind of curious as to, why they are kind of like people discussed so much as mirror or sister projects by people, and it's not just because they're both great movies made in 1950. They both kind of really deal with the industry a little bit. One more theater and one more Hollywood, but kind of a cynical, dark look at the way the world emerges through those two really ephemeral art forms there, and what it does to the people really involved. Not that Norma and Eve have a whole lot in common, but obviously it's an industry where we're kind of talking about how it breaks the people, right? One going in, one going out. This was a very dark look at Hollywood, and it's been done since then. Like, there are obviously derivatives of this story of the fading star. It's always tough to look back on an older film. I watched Jaws not terribly long ago with someone who'd never seen it that's younger, in the family. It was the holidays, and they were bored to death by what is ultimately a really, really great movie. And when you kind of look at, well, they've seen 12,000 derivative horror movies after Jaws that would really, dampen their appreciation for what the original did, the thing that everyone's trying to be and never really accomplishes. And I feel like this story's kind of been done, but it's been done since this so well, right? The dangerous delusional. But God, this must have been incredibly original when it was made, right? This is a unique story, and I really liked the direction it took, and like I said, the characters were so well written as to make these big arcs believable. Joe had a very late redemption arc himself, which I really enjoyed. I thought when he kind of brushed off Betty towards the end, that meant that he was choosing the life with Norma, right? How can I give up all of this stuff? I thought he was being honest, and he really wasn't. It looked like he was choosing option C, really, which was, I don't want to be in either situation. Betty, you deserve to be happy, and I'm not it. I shouldn't be here. Norma's deluding herself, and everyone's helping her. He tried to step off then, but obviously it is too late. He really entangled himself too much to where, like, the tragedy was kind of inevitable, which is why I really would have liked it more if we didn't know he was dead from the onset of the film. I think I would have really appreciated the shock of that happening. I'm like, oh, good for Joe, he's getting away. When it's like, no, Joe, you spend the movie kind of wondering how Joe wanders into his own demise. But other than that, and that's not even a big critique. It's a stylistic choice. It's a narrative framing device. It's a narrative choice that the screenwriter and the director, which I think they were both Billy Wilder, weren't they? Anyway, that Billy Wilder decided on that there's going to be a bit of dramatic irony, that we were going to know what happens to Joe before anybody else, especially Joe, knows what happens to Joe. And we can kind of watch his decision-making process and the mistakes that he makes and the ways he tries to correct it. Of course, correct a little too late to kind of lead him there. This was a fantastic movie. It really is too bad it came out in the same year as All About Eve, because it got overshadowed a little bit. And talk about two great movies. I really appreciate it, guys. I will see you on the next one. We've made it to 5:12 in the morning.